Repeat the ideal.
Okay, so it's a suit of armor that you can put down as a dinghy, so it's a boat.
What, the turtle shell?
Yes.
Okay. I'll be back here. I'm gonna go actually make it.
Channel switched. Microphone muted. Sound muted.
Okay, so that's I got Graugger to talk about that. He had a better way of saying it beforehand, but I mean he's still a little camera shy when it comes to directly asking him questions. So the ideal is this is a single blocks mod we're gonna work on really quickly here. Hopefully it doesn't take longer than an hour. But it's right along the lines of helm bucket thing where you can use a helmet as a bucket. He wants to take a suit of armor and use it as a boat. So he wants to be able to take his armor off and then put it onto the water and then just go around. So this is going to be a really quick mod we can make. It won't take us too long because all we have to do is go clone the boat entity, put a texture on it. Then we just got to make a piece of armor that functions as armor that then when you right click will place a boat in the world. It's not too hard. So we're going to go here and we're going to make another single blocks mod. Eventually I'm going to move all the single blocks mod to their own repo. Actually, let me go see what the formatting we've been using. So yeah, it's SMB. So I was about to type in the wrong thing. So it's single blocks mod dash turtle armor or turtle boat armor. Turtle armor boat. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so we'll initialize that. Initialize with a README. Create the repository. We'll clone it down here in a second, and we'll just make it because it's something quick and might as well do a quick mod here. I knew I was going to do ICBM today, but like I gotta probably head out at 7 anyways, and I'm like, you know what, we'll save ICBM for tomorrow. Hopefully that doesn't become a repeat issue. Okay, so we're going to use Git Kraken here, so we're going to need clone. Here's the URL. Browse. And I want to clone this to here. Select the folder. So this would be SMB and then SMB turtle boat mod. And then we'll clone the repository. Cool. Open now. Nice. That was pretty smooth actually. I'm starting to like Git Kraken. This still feels sad that I'm going to replace it eventually. So it doesn't matter what I'm going to probably end up picking up for a Git tool. I'm going to make my own. It's just going to happen. I've been programming so much, and I'm going to continue programming for a long time. And then when you're making nice stuff, but your tools are not so nice, you need to just get some nice tools. So we're going to just copy grappling hook real quick, and we're going to dump it into this package. We're going to skip replacing the README though. We're going to then go to the source main, and we're just going to wipe out whatever we have for files. So we're going to get rid of that. We're going to get rid of everything in here. We're going to rename this to our mod, so it's going to be SMB, and it'll be the name of the mod. So it'll be Turtle Armor Boat. Try again. Oh, come on. No. Why? Probably Git Kraken. Nope. I hate when this happens. So I'll get like this really stupidity that I can't rename folders on my computer because it's like, hey, something's using that folder. And it's like, it could be anything. It could be the antivirus doing this. It could be some kind of application on my computer running. It could be a virus. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a virus at this rate. It could be one of these Java background processes, which I actually think it is. I don't know what those are, but those almost always seem to be running. Still not working? Come on, let me rename. Okay, so save and quit on the program here. I had this issue the other day. It was the most retarded thing ever. So exit Dropbox. And it's like I murdered everything off my computer. I turned my antivirus off, and it ended up being something like really, really, really stupid. I can't turn Chrome off, even though I would love to. TeamViewer maybe? That shouldn't even be running. And test. We'll see if that was it. Try again. Nope. This is meant to be a quick video, but why these things popped up again? What are these? I'm gonna feel stupid if it was that. Oh my god, it was that. Ah! Notepad for the win, locking the files down. That is just so many levels of retarded. Okay, so we cleared out all of our old assets. Now we're going to go back up here and we go to Java, com, built broken, rename this, and this will just be turtle armor. And yeah, I just gonna wipe the whole folder out. Boom, gone. So we'll get that loaded up here in a second. I'm surprised that that was what was causing it. That it was that just Notepad. That tells you you've got an application that isn't really designed properly if it's locking a file up. Your application should never lock a file up. It should read the file in, then it should just forget the file's kind of there, more or less. That way you can kind of do whatever you want to do. I will have to edit. There's still some editing we need to do, but we'll get the project loaded in real quick. So we want to make a new modular, and yep, go into our file structure. I have to hit refresh on this though, because unfortunately this is not designed to detect for file changes quickly. Okay, we want this. My content route's the same. Okay, that worked. We just gotta set up our sources correctly. So this is a resource folder now. This is a source folder. As we figured out, resource folder does not work on IntelliJ now, so we can just use it. Hit apply dependencies, and we just want to be dependent on Minecraft. So we want to go down to zdeps, and that's the only thing we want to import. So that'll work. And then we should see this mod pop up in our list. Let me go ahead and close these down. And turtle armor. Turtley for the Turtle Club. Okay, so turtle armor mod is what we'll just call that. And then we want to make a package for content. And we need some proxies here. So we're going to need a client proxy. And we're going to need a comment proxy. Which is then going to extend... Actually, we can't extend anything. It's just going to sit there. We don't really need it to do anything. I was about to make it extend abstract proxy, but I'm like, oh no, this is a single blocks mod. We got squat. No more rain. We'll just copy some stuff out of this. Yeah, we'll just copy pretty much this whole first half. Put that in there. Get rid of that. And we want this right here. Okay, so we are going to need a domain. So we need public static final string domain equals SBM. This would be turtle boat armor. Really long domain name, but it has to match that right there. It's not only your domain for your assets, it has also the mod ID. So it's going to actually be a little bit of an odd mod to work on just because I have to keep typing that in. So this is going to be turtle armor, turtle boat armor. Cool. And we just got to change this real quick. So this would be turtle boat armor for our logger. That's all good. Not a lot we also got to really do with this. We may want to just do a prefix real quick. So it'd be public static final string prefix, which is basically your domain plus that. And we're good there. So in our content, we're going to need to make item armor, and then we're going to need an entity boat, and we're going to make a package for each of these. So package boat. Put this in here, and then we'll make another package for the armor. And then we're going to need a render for this, so we're going to need render entity boat. I think it's all we really need, because this is just going to extend boat. So this is going to extend entity boat from Minecraft. Let's rename this. Entity boat armor. That way I can move this part here. That's not what's causing the error, by the way. Just it's I don't want to be extending something and then having them both be named the same exact. Okay, so we get this. The only thing we really got to do real quick is we just kind of have to make some minor changes to the physics of this. We're probably going to want to make this armor function in lava because, I mean, you're writing in basically a bone shell. It would not exactly be flammable. I mean, it would melt, but, I mean, we're playing in a video game, so we don't really need to mess with too much. That all looks good, so we don't need to toy with that. So we're just going to leave this as is. We will need to register it, and then when it goes to the render, we're going to want to extend entity, I believe it's actually entity boat render is how they do theirs. Or is it render entity? How do they render their boat? Oh, it's just called render boat. Okay. So we really don't want to touch anything else in here because we want to use the model. And right now what we're going to do for the moment is we're just going to change the texture. So we're going to need our own boat texture here. And we'll pop this in here. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to copy this method. And we're going to pop it in here. And this is where our domain is going to come into play. So it's going to be turtle, armor, and then domain. And so we need texture, and then we need an entity. So we have a texture path already. Right now it's only got an item in there, so I'm going to have to fix that. We are going to need a armor item, and we're going to need a few other things. So we want to go, yeah, this package, SMB, into here, source, main, resources, assets, SMB, armor, textures, and we need an entity. And then and we'll have a boat in there, we'll have a thing. So we're going to go find the Minecraft boat real quick, and we're just going to retexture it. And we need to grab, well, we don't need an item for it, we just need a blarg. A little bit distracted here because there's a lot of background noise going on. I don't know if the mic's capturing all of it, but yeah. So we need a boat. We need this one right here, so we'll copy that one and we'll take it and put it in here. We'll retexture it in a second. And then we need armor is our next one. We're going to need a few different things. Let's grab the leather armor for our chest plate. I think this actually goes in entities as well. And then we're probably going to type in chest for this part. There we go. So we'll grab leather chest plate as well because it looks kind of nice. And right now we're only going to make a chest plate armor. We'll come back through here and we might make some helmets and legs and boots and stuff, and then we'll make these like drop from zombies is how we'll probably handle this. I don't know about how to do the crafting precisely at the moment. Because you got to think, like, how are you going to craft the turtle armor? I mean, because then you have to, like, the number one way to think about it, you got to think of, like, in terms of Terraria, where it's a mob drop, and you can build turtle armor in Terraria. Let's open this up with GIMP real quick, and just color it green for the moment. And then I'll work on a better texture for it as we go. So we just want to go color, colorize. That'll work. And what we want to do is we would want to really quickly break out the interiors of this, because this is, I believe this is an interior here. One of these is the bottom, one of these is the interior. We're just going to really quickly grab this up, and we're just going to colorize it again, and then we're just going to change it to like a brown. That way I can tell which is which, and then we'll hit File, and we'll hit Save, and of course we'll just save it real quick, and then we'll hit File, Export As, and then we'll override our current boat texture. Then we'll do the armor in a second, because right now I'm just going to leave it white until I figure out exactly how I want it to look. Because we may come back in here later, we may do like a 3D model for the armor, but for the moment I'm just going to do two-dimensional because that's the quickest to get this done. This needs to be add override as well. My computer is freaking out. Yeah, why is IntelliJ just acting weird? I'm going to go ahead and restart IntelliJ. So we're going to hit close on it. And I'm going to go ahead and sync what we got. So we're going to hit stage all files. Started. Yeah, that tells you how there's something wrong with IntelliJ when it took that long to tell me it wanted to close. But yeah, we'll just do that. Hit push. And then we'll restart IntelliJ. It might have been those extra processes I kept killing off, those Java processes, because I believe IntelliJ is partially written in Java, if not fully. I've not really looked into it too much. Here we go. Okay, so we want to go back to kind of more or less working on this. I'm going to open up Magic Mirror real quick here because I want to go copy some stuff from it. Mainly I want to grab these two variables, and that way I can just bring them down here. Because I want the proxy here, and then I want to keep an instance in case we ever need one. Say we decide to add a GUI to change the color of your turtle shell, for example. That would be a really useful thing. We need to make sure we get these two labeled correctly, or the game won't load. We need to make sure we register our item here, so we're going to have a public static item, and we'll just call it armor. Port class, and then we'll just go armor equals new item armor. I want my item armor. I guess I'm going to have to rename this. This will be item turtle armor. It extends item armor. We're going to have to implement quite a few things here, like armor material, for example. We're going to say it's equivalent to iron armor. Yeah, that'll work. So we'll go armor material, and we'll go iron. And then one of these is something, and the other is something else. So this is render index, and this is armor type. That actually is kind of important, so we'll have to figure that out here in a second. I need to close some of these tabs. We got too much crap open. So this is, what does it say, render type? Yeah, because this does render index is actually what that is. Ah, shoot, that didn't work properly. Render index, and then the next one is armor type. So there's I believe there is a way to get the armor type, and we're looking for chest right now, so armor type right there. So, get collar from item stack. There's a bit we're gonna have to probably override in here. Okay, here's what we're looking for right here. So 0 is our head slot. Okay. And it's going to default on us too, so we're going to want to get an icon for this at some point. How do they do their icons? Is there literally like an iron armor at some point? Or they just set the texture? We can figure this out. Oh, of course it's going to be weird. So we're going to hit Control B, and then we're going to hit Control Alt F7. There we go. And then I want the item here. Okay, so they set the texture. Oh, that's not what I want. Okay, they set the texture, and they set the unlocalized name. They set the material. And okay, so that's pretty straightforward. That'll work. So we just want to set the texture name and everything else. So set unlocalized name. This is of course going to be our turtle armor dot prefix plus it'll just be armor. And we'll do the same thing for the set texture. Set texture name. And then hopefully that will just kind of work. I need to go back to the asset thing and I see if they've got a special way to handle armors when they're textures. Actually, no, because we already grabbed the texture, didn't we? Yeah, we grabbed a leather chestplate. This is going to be turtle. I have a feeling I'm not spelling this correctly, so we're going to really quickly just go over to Google and we're going to type that in to make sure I am spelling that correctly. Yep, it is spelled correctly. So we're going to switch up the turtle real quick. That way we can just go to the texture here to be turtle and then it'll be our chest plate there. That way it'll render that. And then we're only going to register, I believe, one thing. But where does this armor type come into play? Because there actually is handling for it. I guess it's a set ID? How is it used though? That's where we need to actually figure it out. So our render index, how are you used? Used on a render to select the corresponding armor to render on the player. 0 is cloth, 1 is chain, 2 is iron, 3 is diamond, 4 is gold. But how do we... I have a feeling that there's a bit of effort we got to put in here to make this work properly. Yeah, I think there's an override we have to implement in order to make this work. And we're going to have to figure that out as we go. And then we also need to do this real quick. So this is... So just want to do super.on right click at the moment for this. But this is where we're going to handle our boat placement code. Okay, cool. We're just going to pass for our render index to 0 at the moment. And then that way, the only thing we have to keep in mind is the armor type. And it technically means we need to change this. This needs to be chest armor. Exclude comments. I don't understand why IntelliJ thinks your comments are related to your code. So item turtle armor, and we got to get the index here real quick. So our chest is 1. There we go. And then we just have to go game registry dot register item, and then chest armor, and this would be something something, etc. I think we just have to just call it, because yeah, it's going to prefix our mod ID. Because I was thinking like, maybe I need to prefix it to prevent that from conflicting with another mod ID, but I'm like, I don't have to do that. What I do need to do is make sure I call proxy.preinit, which we'll have to make a method for that. And then here, when we go to our client proxy, we want to register our render first off. So we go over here, come up to here, and be super.preinit, can do like @override. And first things first, though, we actually need to make sure we're registering our entity here. So we go, I think it's just entity registry. Oh, hold on, we'll just pop over to ICBM real quick. Oh, we don't want the content, we want the main mod. Okay, this is what we want, but I think we only want this line at the bottom. We don't want the top one. I don't know why ICBM is doing the top one. At some point in time, I probably thought it was a good idea, and then I did not think it through, of course. So we want entity boat armor, pretty much, as our class. We're just going to pass back 0. What is the tracking range? Like 200 to be fine on this. And this is going to be turtle boat armor. And then we'll put like SMB in front of this just to make sure it doesn't conflict with anything. And that should register it for us. And then we just need to go do a couple things here. One thing is we need to put this on the creative tab. So we need to go. Actually, does it do the super force automatically? Yes, it does. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that. So it'll automatically appear on the correct tab. But we want to get our boat. Well, actually, no. We'll just go ahead and test to see if the armor just works. So we'll go ahead and add this to our light client, which is down here. Dependencies plus modular dependencies. And then we want SMB turtle boat armor. Hit apply. Just want to make sure the mod runs real quick. Yeah. So yeah, we get this tested. We just make sure the armor can be placed on the player. We then got to get the textures corrected, get the boat placed, ensure the boat functions, so we don't have any issues with that, as that could be a problem. There could be some weird like nuances with how the boat's handled. Minecraft always has some weird stuff going on with it. Other than that, this mod should be done here pretty soon. That's how quick the SMB mods are to make. It only takes me usually an hour or two to make them, and then it's like usually a couple hours after I have to polish it, and then I get them uploaded to the curse, and we're done with them at that point. And then occasionally we'll go and we'll update them to newer Minecraft versions. Most of the mods we just kind of make for the hell of it, so we don't update them right away, because the number of people that download some of these mods is just so low that they're not high on the priority list. The only exceptions are we've made exceptions for things like wooden shears, which was made as a joke mod, but now is actually a part of a large mod pack, which we did not expect was going to happen. We expect like the wooden buckets is going to get picked up by that same pack here eventually. I give them props. They're making me $2 a day. And not a lot of money when you think about it. That ends up to being like $60 a month. That doesn't even pay my gasoline in my car, let alone food. But it's still pretty appreciated that they've picked up that mod. And I need to go through and I need to work on it some more. I want to add a whole bunch of more textures to it. Maybe a 3D model or two. Try to make it look a little nicer. I want to start probably making some more stuff for it. We do have plans to make a metal shear mod where it's just a whole bunch of different metal types. There's a lot of like stuff that needs to be implemented. I still haven't got around to finishing the bucket mods. We're working on them, and I kind of got sidetracked, and those need to get more work as we just transitioned over to the fluid bucket system. So we have a central mod that handles all the buckets, and all you're doing is registering materials, but I have to go through and actually work on that mod some more. Clean it up, polish it, add tons of more supportive fluids to it. Because right now it'll function with all the fluids, but it won't render all the fluids properly. And I want to make sure it goes through and it'll render every single fluid in the game. And we have a solution for that. Right now we're going to probably make a special render system for it. Or something. I'll figure it out. Okay, So that's a sentry gun. We want combat, and that's our armor right there. And it's placeable. And yeah, we got a leather chest plate is what we got right now on it. I think it's a leather chest plate. It looks like iron actually. I'm not familiar with the classic vanilla armors anymore. So if we switch it, no, it is leather. So it is using the leather armor set. There is a way to override that, so that's good. Our texture ID didn't go through. And we have an amazingly long localization for that. Just redonkulous localization. Let's hit up the localization real quick. Actually, it's the wrong mod. Close that. Here we go. So we got this thing. So it's going to be item, then our localization name, then armor dot name equals turtle armor. Yep, that should work. So that'll localize that. And then we'll need to localize the boat too. That's the only two things we really need to localize, so we're pretty good on that. We need to figure out where our texture didn't work. Turtle chestplate.ping. I think I just gotta register it maybe. Let's take a look at how the armor is doing it. Okay, yeah, they actually do set the texture name directly. So we just want to do this real quick, so grab that. And we want to come over to here, and we want to do this. So set texture name. And then we want to, of course, prefix to the front of that. That'll fix our texture. And we can go ahead just to confirm that is fixed. Retexture this. Actually, I want to open this up in GIMP. Open with GIMP. There we go. My brother was giving me shit for using this. Like, why are you using like Photoshop or something? He's like, yo, Photoshop is expensive. Plus, I don't know how to use it. That's another major issue. I barely know how to use this thing. That works. And we're just going to hit save as well. I don't really need to save this, but I might as well. We'll come back through and maybe add some spikes to the shoulders and stuff. So that'll give us our texture there. And then let's go ahead and edit this as well so it's just pre-handled for us. Hopefully this is the chest plate, because I think there's two textures for every armor set because there's just not enough room on the set. Yeah, that's our chest plate, and it also has our helmet with it. So we're going to do the same thing we just did with that one, except we just want to come bring it like somewhere, bring the saturation up, bring the lightness down. It's not going to look beautiful, because I mean, I'm not going to sit here and just mess with it all day. I'll see if I can get somebody to probably help me out with getting some nice textures for this here later, but I'm in no rush. And this will just be turtle armor. And we've got to figure out some way to load it in, and that's going to have to be handled in the item class. It's actually in the super, by the way. It's going to be all the way down here at the bottom, if I remember where it's at correctly. There's a helmet overlay, which we don't really need. We might come back and get later. We can change the armor, which we're going to copy this, and we're just going to leave a note to do this later. And we'll just go like to do make model. Here we go. Get armor texture is what we want. Now I'm not entirely sure how this works, as I've actually never really used this method, but supposedly all I have to do is go get the prefix, then add in the location of it. And our location is this long mess here. I'm not sure how this exactly works. It might actually be like dots, but I want to say you can do that. So we'll try that first. If that doesn't work, we'll change it. I think it's all I need. I think it's going to by default ping it. Let's do this real quick. So you couldn't find anything. I'll just F7. Get results. Get armor textures. A forge hook. Okay. It's going to localize resources. So yeah, that's kind of what we want. Except we kind of want to put it in a different path here. Right now we got it in entities. We kind of want to put it in our models path. So this would be new. This would be models. So we're going to change our system here. This doesn't really matter. I just kind of want to keep consistent with what they're kind of doing. So if we go over look at the forge hook and I find it again. They're putting it inside texture models armor. We don't really need a subfolder for armor, so we're just gonna put it in models. But we're noting it's a models what we have. The only reason we're gonna put the boat in entity is just kind of consistency. We'll go ahead and down screen that, and theoretically that should work. We should now get an armor texture. Yeah, because that's gonna load the get armor resource for us. And then we can get a model here later, which would be kind of cool, but it'll be a while. And we just need to do our right click after this. And we need to register our thing. So this will be render. Actually, you know what? We'll go to ICBM for this real quick. So this will be ICBM client proxy. Oh, it's gonna error out there. Lol. Did not expect that to happen. It's render registry, register that. Okay, cool. Yeah. And then we just put our stuff in here. So this would be entity boat armor.class, and then we want new render entity boat. And debug. And why this is loading? Let's go hunt down the item boat code. I'm gonna wait for this to actually start launching before I type anything in, because if I don't, it'll crash again. Because it doesn't compile the entire thing until it hits this stage here. It'll start compiling everything, but it doesn't finish compiling everything until after the unit test run. So I want to make sure it's starting to load Minecraft before I do anything. So then we go item boat. We want basically this code right here. Boom, just copy the whole thing. We want to put it like right here. And have fun figuring out what this is. That's player. This is more than likely world. Why did that just weird out on me? We're going to replace that, and the last one's going to be stack. So we'll go ahead and replace. No. Actually, that surprisingly was correct. We're still just going to do it this way, though. Replace all. Cool. So that gets us all of our code here. We're just going to have to figure out what's going on here. Moving object position. If it's null, what we want to do is, if we don't have this, we want to do this. So if the moving object position misses, so you don't hit like water, for example, because that's what we're trying to do, just put the armor on the player, I guess. Actually, you know what? We're just not going to do anything. That's actually how we're going to handle this. We just got to redo this whole piece here. Right now it's going to place a boat when we go to place it, so we just got to change the entity at some point. But we're going to start with the boat, because the boat's a pretty good, solid thing to work with. We also need to kind of clean this up here. Okay. So this is pitch. This is yaw. This is delta x. Delta y. I still remember I was having a conversation with Calculator one time about deltas, and I confused the living crap out of him because he didn't quite comprehend what I was saying because I kept going, hey, we just need to get the delta of the delta of the delta of this delta of that delta. And what we were talking about, I was talking about energy mathematics, and of course, my brain was functioning at like full capacity at that time. So here I had remembered all of my lessons from engineering, and I was explaining to him how we could reprogram UE5 to actually fully properly simulate electrical networks. And he just completely bypassed him. Okay, we got a lot of pinky stuff, which tells us it's not getting our textures correctly. It did localize, and I'm going to go ahead and just duplicate it real quick, and let's get that off my hotbar so I don't want to mess up. Boat. Another boat. So that's working. Now we just want to change it to entity boat armor. And hopefully we don't crash. Oh, missing textures on everything. I want to say our domain path might be wrong, which is a reason. Well, no, because we're getting our localizations, which says it's working. But we've clearly messed up a lot of our paths then. I'll just copy this whole path here. So we have to fix this in some way. So render boat entity. So we got our domain there actually. It's just texture entity then boat. I want to get this to make sure this actually does match, because we could be getting like one of those weird things where localization is working even though it shouldn't. That does match, so we have no problem there. Yet we have a missing texture. So let's go to the up here. Yeah, it does use the PNG at the end. Could it not be loading? Well, we're getting our localizations, which tells me it is loading the path. Okay, time to open up this. File not found. Textures entity boat. So textures entity boat. It's right there. It looks like it spelled everything's correct, so that's not that. File project structure. I gotta make sure it actually is set up correctly. Even though we're getting localizations, it could be some weird twerks here. Resources. I'm just gonna change that to a source path. I've always had issues with those not working properly. I don't really understand why it messes up. We got our armor though, so I mean it's rendering. I mean it's rendering missing texture, of course, because our textures aren't loading properly. We can place our boat, so we're good. Game mode 0, so we do this. It places, and then we can get into it. Except it gives us the boat back, so that's another thing we need to fix. Okay, so we'll go ahead and close this, and we're going to fix the drop, and then hopefully the textures will solve themselves. So the render, we're good. Item boat, we don't care, because we got our system here. I mean, we just copy code, but I'm going to come through here and beautify this here later. So now we want entity boat, and we want to get its item drop, which is down in here somewhere. Do boats actually catch on fire if they're in lava? I actually got to check that. It didn't look like it was catching on fire. Okay, where is the boat drop here? Interact first. Update position. Set velocity. It's probably in the non-update code here. Splashing particles. Nope. Not seeing it. Control V, item boat. Okay, we do want to fix this here because we don't want the boat to break. So we'll do that real quick. So we're just going to completely nerf that code out. So if your boat falls from a great distance and you hit the ground, so what? You don't take damage. We might want to store the item that we actually made it so that it'll keep its durability, because that could be an exploit. Can be collided with, perform hurt animation, set damage taken, which is probably what's going on. Attacked from, I think this is the code we want. Surprised there's just no drop method. Yeah, it's right there, item drop function. Okay. So we want to store the item. So we're going to go, okay, public item stack, armor stack. And we'll make sure we set that. And we'll make sure it saves that. So we need to do like write. So we'll go read from MBT. So at override. So I'm going to go if armor stack doesn't equal null. For some reason, like you say, for example, it does whatever. So flag, which is capability is creative or damage taken, written by amount. If flags, this is do break, and then we just want to get the armor stack. So we're gonna go if do break and armor stack doesn't equal null, then we need to drop it. So function drop entity by item. So yeah, drop item, and then we want to just drop the stack flat out. And then yeah, armor stack. Apparently this doesn't like that, so there's a float value. Float, I'm gonna guess, is the amount of y. Yeah, cool. So we'll just 0 because I don't care. It'll drop wherever it's at. So what we're gonna do is we go to do damage armor. So what we're actually gonna do with the fall state is instead of breaking the boat itself, we're gonna damage the armor. So every time you're doing something stupid with your armor, you're gonna take stupid damage. We'll come back and do this later though, because this is not really important at the moment. But we want to save our armor stack, so we're gonna go something, something, something. First we need to change these to MBT so it's a little easier to type. So if it doesn't equal null, we then want to go MBT tag compound tag equals new MBT tag compound armor stack dot write to MBT tag MBT dot set tag armor stack and then tag. And then we want to go down here. We go okay if MBT dot has key armor stack. Then we want to go armor stack equals item stack dot load from MBT dot get compound tag armor stack. So that'll read and write that. So there's no duplication issues where I take and I use my armor to go as a boat, and I get a fully healed armor set back. So it'll keep your damage. And then when we take collisions and stuff, we'll make sure to do that stuff too. We also, I guess I'll put a note up here. To do on collide damage armor. And it'll be probably a randomized, it'll be like maybe 1 point of hit HP or something. We still need to set the durability of various things. This should work though. We drop the correct item now. I mean, it looks good, so we'll go ahead and just hit debug and launch. Almost done. This is kind of like, I make these mods and a couple people have told me I should join Mod Jam again. I used to participate in the Mod Jams. I participated, like, I believe in Mod Jam from 2 to 7, and I just, after a while, it just got to the point where I would get close to that top 5, and then I wouldn't get up there because there was this group of mod developers that always participated, and they always, like, won. I believe it was iTune who won almost every single Mod Jam for a while. And he was winning not because what he was making was actually that great, because a lot of his mods were, they're cool, but they're not amazing. They're nothing new in the game. But because his fan base was so large, he just won out of popularity, flat out. I believe they did try to adjust it. They did make other mod groups, but it still came down to a popularity contest. If you were the most popular mod developer, you won. They should have set it up so you could do blind votes, so you didn't know whose mod was which, and that would have worked. That would have fixed it. Even then, it would probably have not worked perfectly because, I mean, we mod developers record as we make mods a lot of times, so iTunes especially streams when making stuff. So yeah. What they needed is they need a solid group of judges to actually do everything, and I think they were slowly migrating towards that. But it's not too big of a deal because, I mean, it's fun. I mean, the main reason to go do mod jams is for the fun, but I mean, it is a competition at the same time, and you put a lot of energy in there just to kind of get ignored half the time. So I made some really cool AI-driven mods for 2 of the mod jams. I mean, we had AIs that legitly used furnaces, legitly used crafting tables and chests and stuff. Could go off and mine, bring resources back, and I think we got like 10th place on that one. Literally what failed on us is because people couldn't look at our mod in a gap of 10 minutes and figure out what was going on, which, I mean, that's most mods, I guess. If you can't explain to the user quickly what's going on, and then plus Calclavia put voice effects in there, which was, He tried to do randomized audio for the Artilex and stuff, and it was the most horrible thing I've ever seen. Because he tried to pull off some quotes from Portal and stuff, because Portal had that AI in it, and he's like, oh, that'd be cool. And I'm like, no, that is not. That's horrible. And so we had audio dialogue explaining what the Artilex were, which wasn't too bad. That was actually something that was pretty cool. But then it could loop and break repeatedly. Then we had audio dialogue randomized from the AIs, and if you had like 15 of those things around you, it drove you nuts. I know because I did a lot of the testing for that. What happened? Oh well. Something happened. Okay, so I'm going to have to get the armor again. So game mode 1. Yay, we got our texture. So I guess it actually probably was the domain was misspelled. Our texture for our player is still not quite right. I'll have to toy with that for a while. But we should get a boat that should be textured now. It is textured. We'll probably work on getting that to function a little better here. But I mean, for 50 minutes worth of work, this isn't too bad. I mean, I spent most of this time talking, so. Yay, boat. And what we'll do is I'll make a 3D model for this down the road so it'll actually look like a turtle shell. And I'll probably see if I can improve the movement of it so it actually behaves more like a turtle shell. We'll toy around with it, because, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do with this. And plus, boats need so much work in Minecraft. Oh man, because they have a turn limit. They can't turn very fast, but they're really jerky about the turning. And then the player can 360 in the boat, which I don't think should have been a thing in the first place. They should lock you so your body couldn't move and your head is the only thing can move. That would definitely improve it. Because if you didn't notice, if you hold down movement, your head can actually change the direction of the boat movement, even though the WASD keys do the same exact thing. That's something that probably could use fixed. I don't know if they fixed it in the later versions of Minecraft. I know the Windows 10 version, their boat works so nice, but you have to like hit WAD to move with it. So when you hit W, it moves sideways. When you hit D, it moves this way. And if you hit both, you go forward. And it's kind of cool because it mimics a rowboat and it gives that really cool immersive behavior, but is not intuitive. Because you would have to know how a rowboat worked to understand what was going on. Although a lot of people can pick up from that. Anyways, if we hit the wall here, it breaks into stick still. So we still got a bit of work to do. But I'm going to close out the video here, and I'll continue working here on this mod as I go, and that'll be it.